So let's get started with the front. All right, so we're gonna just loosen up these bolts up on the strut tower for now. 3 12mm bolts here. That loose, we can move down here, get your jack and support this side of the suspension. These are gonna be on really tight, so you're gonna need a pry bar to get these off, and it's gonna be a 19mm bolt. There's one on top and then one on the bottom. You're going to need to take this bolt off here that is holding in the brake line. That's another 12mm. And undo this electrical connector for this sensor here. It's attached to the strut, just like that. Pop that out to the side, and now with everything disconnected from the strut, we can now completely remove the bolts holding the strut. Take a mallet and smack them out. Some heat may be required for you. This bolt for me was frozen in place, so a little heat and a larger hammer gets the job done. Now we can take these bolts off fully. Okay, so what we're doing is I want to lower the car about 1 inch, so I'm going to measure from the top hat of the old strut to the bottom, and it's about 20 inches. So in order to lower the car 1 inch, let's see what this measures from the top hat. So this measures 18 inches, so I'm going to have to lengthen this by 1 inch in order to lower the car 1 inch. Okay, now we're at 19 inches. So what we'll do, I'm going to put some anti-seize on here. Make sure the threads don't seize up on me. We'll work our locking ring down. And now when we go to install this, see how you have this adjustability on the top for your camber. You're going to want these lines to be parallel with the front of the car. So this way you can adjust the suspension accordingly. So now that we got that set up, let's get this in the car. Now with that, we can come up here and just put our nuts on top. So this way we could position the strut on the knuckle. Now that's not going to fall on us. Now you'll have to position the strut around the knuckle like this. And I have new hardware here. Definitely use anti-seize. I had trouble with that lower bolt. It was totally frozen in this strut, so we are going to make sure we coat this really good. Maybe a little overkill. Put your washer on this side. Okay, just get those tight for now. We're gonna come back and torque them down. We'll tighten up the ones up top. That's good. So now with that done, I'm gonna go ahead and put some preload on this corner. Now we're gonna torque down these bolts. These will go to 116 foot-pounds. All right, so that side's all complete. We'll go on to the rear now. All right, guys, moving on to the back. You're probably gonna want to loosen a few things back here. I already went ahead and loosened up my sway bar. Actually undid the top bolt on the sway bar end link up here, so this way we can lower this lower control arm. I'm gonna undo these bolts here. And it looks like we're gonna have to loosen this one. Hopefully that gives us enough to drop this control arm. All right, so now with that loose, we can move on to the trunk. You're gonna have to remove this lining. There's a few pop clips in place. Now, I don't know, Subaru, they must have thought of this ahead of time, but I actually removed this little piece here, and it will always keep that shock tower exposed. So I'm gonna do the other side also when I put that piece back in. We'll undo these two 14mm bolts. Okay, now this strut should just be able to come out. I had supported it with my jack so it just doesn't fall out. And there it is. We'll take it over to the bench, do some measurements here. All right, so remember, we'll just take our measurements from the top hat to the bottom of the strut. And that's 17.5 inches on the old one. And new one is 15.5 inches. So we need to extend this another inch. So we'll loosen up our locking nut at the bottom. And we will extend the shock body by an inch. All right, so now we're there, 16.5 inches. I'm gonna put some anti-seize on these threads. We'll spin down our locking ring. Mine came with these little inserts. You're definitely gonna need them. I guess it's for different applications. So now let's get this in the car. So in the wheel well, I just supported it with the jack. So this way we could get these strut tower nuts on. We'll just leave it semi-loose for now so we got some movement. And now we can go ahead and swing our lower control arm back in place here. Alright guys, so now I'm going to torque down all these bolts. I'm going to put a little bit of preload on the suspension. We're going to simulate the weight of the car on that corner. The strut bolt is going to go to 59 foot-pounds. This one's also going to go to 59 foot-pounds. This is going to go to 50 foot-pounds. And make sure you hold the other side of the bolt, because if you let it rotate, you're going to be affecting the camber of this wheel, which we don't want to. Sway bar will go to 28 foot-pounds. Now that that's done, we could let this suspension relax. Lastly, we have to put a little bit of preload on the springs. Revel suggests 0 to 15 millimeter of preload. So we are going to probably put about 10 millimeters on there. I set my pair of calipers to 10 millimeters here. And that'll be this inner diameter there. And what I'm going to do, we'll use our supplied wrenches here. And what I want to do is I'm going to snug up this lower collar to this wider collar here, and we're going to turn this so this way the spring is going to get more tension on it. We're going to tighten it till the gap in between this collar and this collar is that 10 millimeters. So let's turn this up. All right, we're there. Now we'll tighten up that lower collar. We'll tighten down this other collar. And that'll be it. So there's going to be some things we're going to have to adjust. Obviously, right now we could get the car on the ground and see where things are, take our measurements again, make sure each corner is where we want it to be. And you're going to have to give the suspension a few days for it to settle. I have a whole lot of new parts here, and you know, it's going to take time for those things to settle. You want the car to sit on with its full weight on all of these new components, and eventually things will settle into place. Your car will probably sit a little bit lower than where it sits right now, but next I'm going to do all four sides and we'll get this car on the ground. Well guys, that's it for now. Definitely going to need some more finer adjustments. If you want to see how to actually adjust the height of the coilovers, check out my video. I'll link it up here right now for you so you can check that out. I'm going to have to definitely go through these and probably just fine tune the height. 100% get in alignment. If you guys want to see the video that I posted earlier about the entire suspension overhaul I did, I will also link that here for you to check out as well. Now, if you made it to the end of the video, I'll go into a little bit further detail for you guys if you are confused, just to go over the preload. Now, my set of coilovers did not come with any preload. Revel did recommend, as I said, 0 to 15 millimeters of preload. Depending on which set of coilovers you wind up getting, they may or may not come with any preload on them. So make sure you read the directions prior to applying any preload to the suspension. In this particular scenario, since my coilovers did not come with any preload, when the car is off the ground, the spring is not tight up against that lower collar, and so you can actually move the spring up and down by hand, and that's not good. So essentially, when we apply preload, we're going to be taking up that slack, so this way the spring is always nicely seated to that lower collar and cannot move around and clunk around. So again, check the directions prior to applying that preload. And just to clarify my earlier point on how to orient the coilover in the shock tower, make sure these lines are pointed towards the front of the car. Make sure these lines are parallel with the front of the car. Essentially, what this is a measurement of your camber, and if you loosen those bolts up on top, you're going to be able to adjust the camber of each corner. So again, we want to keep a neutral position. So the center there is going to be our neutral position with camber as close to factory as possible. And if you guys were curious about the final measurement after the car settled and I had it sitting on the ground for a while, I did go back and I adjusted all 4 corners. I wanted the car to be leveled off front and rear. So the final measurement I had from ground to fender, from the ground to the lowest part of the center of your fender, I measured, is 25.5 inches. And this ride height was perfect. Like I said, it leveled out the car. I could drive it anywhere without worrying about scraping, and I think it looks spot on. So 25.5 inches was that final measurement. As always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what kind of coilovers you want to put on your car, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so this way you don't miss out on any of my future rebuilds and automotive tips and tricks. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.